the pictures in the background, today is Contraceptive Day, and health experts are advocating the adoption of family planning among Ghanaians to aid in unwanted pregnancies as well as enhance development. In her address, Deputy Director General at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Gloria Kwansar-Sari, reviews the country has witnessed an improvement in the use of contraceptives and other methods, but was quick to add that the progress is bedeviled with a lot of challenges. She tasked the health workers to make family planning attractive.
There is compelling evidence that practicing family planning yields many health and socio-economic benefits by managing and slowing population growth, improving quality of life, reducing exposure to unwanted pregnancies, preventing unsafe abortions, and reducing maternal deaths. In Ghana, many unintended pregnancies end up as unsafe abortions, which, according to studies in the past, account for between 20 to 30% of maternal deaths, especially in the institutions. The availability of reliable and quality contraception, regardless of age or ability to pay, is an essential step in preventing such deaths. These celebrations are therefore important as we strive to achieve a national target of 50% for contraceptive prevalence by the year 2020. According to the 2014 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey, the use of modern contraceptive methods among married women is 22%. Since women in our country stand a better chance of changing their status and well-being through improved access to reproductive health services, including family planning, we should persist in our efforts to dispel all myths and misconceptions to make family planning desirable to all, including men. As a health sector, we will continue to increase the availability and access to quality family planning across the length and breadth of our dear country.
So we have in the studios this afternoon Dr. Emmanuel Ame. He's a senior specialist reproductive health and family planning. He's a gynecologist as well, and he's with the Ghana Health Service. He joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Pulse.
Good afternoon.
I hope you're doing well. It's Contraceptive Day. How are we marking the day?
Well, it's actually Contraceptive Week.
Mm-hmm.
We have a series of activities that have been lined up for this week. Today was the main launch of the activities. But while the activities is also going on, there is also campaign taking places in various communities in Accra and around the countries and all the regions. We have educational talks taking places, services are being delivered, and then as much as possible also there's interaction between the community. We have a series of activities that are lined up for the week, and it will be rounded up on Friday with a program called the Girls Talk, which will take place at one of UPSA in Accra, where there will be interactions with specifically females in the universities and tertiary institutions to talk about family planning, talk about relationship, and then to talk about even things like STIs and HIV. Also.
I'm very interested in Girls Talk, but it's on Friday. We'll talk about it shortly. But as part of the week, are we sharing condoms? What
yes.
are we sharing?
Yes, condoms are available this week, and it's also available at any time once you can walk up to any family planning service delivery point nationwide. They are available. The condom has the advantage that it can be used both as a contraceptive and at the same time to prevent STIs, including HIV also. So
but do we have more and more people using these contraceptives, especially condoms? Because you hear people, especially the men, they tell you that it's always not the same with a condom. I'm sure you've always heard it as a gynae as well, especially also the female condoms. Do we have more and more people using?
Generally in Ghana, like the survey, the 2014 survey showed, the uptake of contraceptive generally has increased, which is encouraging, but there's still more to be done. We were 22, generally, all the contraceptive uptake is 27%. The modern method is about 22% from 17%, which it was before. So there's an increase. And the good thing about it is that more and more people are taking the long-acting reversible method, which are contraceptive method you can use They are reversible, but they are much more effective and depend less on the user. So in essence, when people talk about forgetfulness and all the other things, you don't worry about that. And not only do they benefit from it being a contraceptive, they have a lot of non-contraceptive benefits which people can take advantage of, because for example, if you're on the pills, you can you benefit from prevention. I mean, it protects you from the risk of ovarian cancer, depending on the duration of use. If you use it for 5 to 10 years, you can get up to 70% protection. So if you compare someone who is on the contraceptive to the one who is not on it, who have used it for over 5 to 10 years, the person is 70% less likely to develop ovarian cancer compared to someone who is not on it. The other things, women who have menstrual problems, for menstrual pains, you have mid-cycle pain, for those whose cycles are irregular. Being on those contraceptives helps their cycles to be regular. You also have other diseases, conditions we use it for. Some people have what we call polycystic ovarian syndrome, whereby it affects their cycle. With the contraceptive, it corrects it. Then there are also other benefits from another type of cancer we call endometrial cancer. Those who are on contraceptive are less likely to develop endometrial cancer than those who are not on it at all.
How come I didn't know this? I'm hearing this for the first time. Because I always have issues with, going on the pills. We've heard people say that anytime they go on it, they get fat and all that. There are a lot of side effects that people tell us about. Is it just a misconception?
Well, there are lots of myths and misconceptions associated with family planning. And that is why what we say is that if you want to start to use a contraceptive method, we advise you to don't just go to any shop and just buy it. You need to go to a place where you need to be counseled, where you'll be given all the options concerning the family planning method. And then you make a choice. Then being guided by the service provider, he will ensure that the method you have chosen is appropriate for you. A method that is appropriate for Mrs. A may not be appropriate for Mrs. B. And so sometimes you get some of these things when people are not guided to make the choice. Yes, contraceptives definitely have some side effects, but most of the side effects are manageable. They can easily be handled. And one thing we do during the counseling process is that we take you through even some of the limitations or some of these side effects you may experience, what to do. Some you don't even need to come to the facility. You just do so. And for the others, you come to the facility and give you something small and you are done. Because the benefit you get from it far, far outweigh the condition. And then even when we look at the side effect, from when we say, let's say 100 women are on it, probably 3 to about, let's say 9% of people may develop the side effects, which are generally manageable. But unfortunately, there's been a lot of myths and misconceptions about family planning, which in actual sense is not true. And we are happy now that more Ghanaians are taking to the family planning method. You go to the family planning clinic, see more people who are present there, both those who are married, who are not married. And they're taking up the method.
That's interesting. You are demystifying some of them, but as you've talked about, people now trooping into family planning centers. Which of these contraceptives, among them, we have the condoms, the female condoms, the pills, amongst others, which ones are Ghanaians really, or people who troop to these centers, which ones are they really patronizing? You can do a ranking? Yeah.
Well, in Ghana, for now, based on our data we have, the injectables are the most patronized. Okay, the injectables are effective for, the ones that are effective for 3 months, then the ones that are effective for 1 month. So what you do is that once it is due, you just go in again and take another injection. Our values,
and it stays within your system, nothing happens to you. So if for instance I have 2 kids, I don't want to have kids maybe for the next 2 years, I come, where do you inject it?
Well, they are given in the muscles, okay, and sometimes they are given in the gluteal region. Now, the thing is that once you take it, like I said, you must be counseled to know whether it fits you as an individual. If it is appropriate for you, you'll be told about what you need to do, when you need to come, the common side effects you expect, what to do when you have those side effects, where you can access the services, even if you don't want to return back to the same place. Because sometimes somebody may start a family planning service at a point, but there are other facilities that are closer to them. And then we have a network even among the family planning providers, such that even if they can't, maybe you choose a method, it's not available here, they can direct you to the nearest place where you can get those services.
So which is the least that people are patronizing? You've talked about injectable at the top. Which is the least?
Now, followed by the injectables, we have the long-acting ones like the implants. The implants are the ones that are inserted here, They last. We have the ones that last for 3 years, and it can be used for 5 years. Now, I would like to say that
if it's in there, you never get pregnant.
You don't get pregnant, but we must say that there's no contraceptive method that is 100%.
100%, okay.
Okay, but most people who use it, most of the time, once they stick to the rules, they don't get pregnant. So they are effective. Now, and the advantage of the implant is that you don't need to bother about, oh, I've forgotten my pills, or no, it's there.
Just there.
And once it's due for you to change it, you go there. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. It's replaced and you go on.
And it's not painful.
It is not painful because you'll be given something to take care of the pain. It takes 5 to 10. Blink of an eye, it's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that those that are least ranked in our only are the permanent method. Now, for example, like the male type, the vasectomy is very low. We have less than 0.1%. Then with the female ones, the female permanent method is a little bit high. It's increasing, but I think we could do better. So what we need to do is to encourage our men to be involved in also the contraceptive methods. Now, we've also seen that when men are involved, even when the wives are the ones, or their partners, the female partners, are the ones that are using the method, they tend to adhere to it better than when just the woman goes there to use the method. And there are also the natural family planning method. For that one, you need the partner's cooperation for the woman to use it, because once the partner is not cooperating, you can't use it.
Interesting. But between men and women, who are the ones that patronize family planning or contraceptives?
Well, as much as possible, we encourage partners' involvement. Most of the methods that are available, most are used by women. Okay. However, just the male condom and the vasectomy that are being used by the men. Okay. But even though the women are the ones using it, when the men are involved in the women's decision and they go together and they make that decision together, they tend to keep to using it for a long period of time, and satisfaction is much more. I'm
grateful for your time, Dr. Emmanuel Ame. It looks like the way you're going, you want me to come to one of your family planning centers, but we'll see about that. Thank you so much. Okay. He's a gynecologist and a specialist with the Ghana Health Service. Thank you.